Welcome back to Pearl Media, where truth meets perspective. Today, we're diving into another classic Kevin Samuels moment. Let's get into it.
Okay, I can't. Boy, woo. Oh, boy. All right, so and I let that go, not to try to be embarrassed, but I want women today are not treating relationships like they're serious. It's like men are just a toy, something to pass the time with, to keep you kind of occupied. It's almost like, have you ever seen a kitten playing or a cat play with a ball of yarn or something and then get bored? Well, if you ever see cats, they don't do things for long, they get bored.
Yeah.
And women today seem to treat relationships like, whatever. I'll just have some sex from you, I'll take some DNA from you, and I'll have dinner from you, but I don't want to do any of this too long. I'm getting bored. Let me go find something else. Let me go run up a tree. Let me chase a cricket. Let me chase a squirrel. Let me eat a cricket. Let me do this. Oh, some catnip. It's like, and the men are like, how are we supposed to move forward and progress and build the family, then the neighborhood, and the community, and the city, the town, the city, the nation, with women who are just, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And I'll just have babies and whatever. I'll just figure it out. It's just men can't walk through the world like that. The world is serious for us. And what men are is frustrated. Go ahead.
Why do you think it happened?
Huh?
And where do you think? I said, why happened? And where in the timeline?
Where, okay, you start breaking up. Where do I think it happened?
Yeah, where did that shift happen? When did it happen?
Roughly around the late 60s, early 70s, with feminism, third wave feminism. You're breaking up, but you can go back and look. You can go back and look at the late 60s at the height of the civil rights movement. Lyndon Baines Johnson, the Great Society. Feminism was used to kind of blunt the gains of the civil rights movement, because they took the civil rights movement that was impacting the black community, black men and women, raising, and then here come the feminist movement to saying to black women, hey, come join us to get women's rights and equality. And we just came off our own equality fight, so our women went off saying, well, we need equality too. The difference is black men ain't have no power over black women to oppress you. You need equality with us. You already had equality. But then you get, you get feminism, the advent of abortion. So women have reproductive choice. You get better contraceptives. And then you start getting more women going to school into the workplace. So basically, black women were chose to take all these gains, education, reproductive choice, and all this stuff, but it did not mean you had to separate from your men. It all happened to all groups of women. Then Title IX came along and women counted more, Title IX, affirmative action, and it all culminated in the 80s and 90s when black women were given preferential treatment in hiring decisions and things like that. And the funny part is, in Generation X, all the strides that have been made in the black community struggle up through the civil rights movement, Generation X pretty much turned around and said, this is all mine. The baby boomers and Generation X kind of turned their backs on the familial traditions. And that's what we're kind of grappling with right now, whether they understood the long-term ramifications or whatever, but basically, women separated themselves from their men to the point to where I don't need you. No, you don't need me for food, protection, shelter, but you've traded in your physical man for the government institutions, the police, fire, security. That's your man now. Your
employment.
Who gives you a job? Get your money from the job. So what do you need a man for now? Sex, and if you decide you want to reproduce, a baby, but then after that. But you got to ask yourself, why did our women choose to oppose the relationship, because you don't hear other women saying we don't need no man like black women do. And that can go back down to, there's a lot of people thinking it goes back to the 13th Amendment, white supremacy, racism, generational trauma that had to do with chattel slavery. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But what we cannot do is act like that we don't have a problem. In the 60s, the single birth rate was around 25%. There was a national cry for emergency. Now 8 out of 10 kids are born out of wedlock. Black women are married at a 1 in 4 rate, and it's only declining. And even if you disagree with it, even if people disagree with everything I've ever said, you just gotta ask yourself a question. Does the modern woman, black woman in particular, really seem to be approaching the relationship market like they really truly want to get married?
No, I know you're speaking specifically about the black woman. I mean, I'm from Canada, so I'm surrounded by a lot of Caucasian women as well, but I find that the same sentiment and the same attitude is prevalent where I am. And so
it can be prevalent. It can be prevalent, but you also have a culture, an intact culture. We don't. So even men from Mexico, who may be from lower on us socioeconomically, they still have an intact culture where men have a position of power. That men have the position of a patriarchal society, white America, Asian America, Middle East, and black. In this country, black people have a different thing. And it's a culture thing, because when have black men ever been on top of the community in black America? And that's what we're kind of struggling with. What are we going to do? Do we want to look like patriarchal communities like everybody else? Or do you want to submit, and then that means you have to voluntarily cooperate and give up some of your freedom for the benefit of the whole? Sounds good, but most people don't want to give up what they got. That's why
they want to hold.
That's why I talked about this high value thing. It's not that women really want a man making some money, but they want a lifestyle. I run into more women who want to be retired by 45, living on the beach. And I'm just like, at the ultimate point, I'm like, if we're going to have anything, women are going to have to seriously ask themselves, do you want to be married? Because there's an old saying that a nation can rise no higher than the moral position of its women. So I'm looking at women, and I'm like, well, how are you women approaching relationships? And for most, it's a game or a joke. It's funny. I think that people misunderstand and see what I do in the back and forth, and they take the sound bites, not understanding that this is the straw. Women are the straw which we make bricks. And I ask women, are you as serious as your grandmother was at your age? Oh, no. Well, then what the fuck? How are we supposed to get anywhere as men if we aren't taking it seriously?
But it's interesting when you mention that we are not thinking of whole, we're all thinking so individual. So when individuals are coming together, even when you're looking at a marriage, it's like, well, what am I getting out of it? As opposed to what we going to be building to reach a common objective, right? And so divorce rates also, in the background being very dark, and they are high. It's almost like people are almost planning for the eyes of the relationship as opposed to putting all of their effort into.
Well, the sad part is in the West, hyper-individualism penalizes women more at the end of life than it does men. Because if it's all about me, what am I going to get out of it? Cool. But whether it don't matter about the education or whatever. At the end of the day, black men earn more than black women, and you can have a PhD education, but the numbers tell the story. And the bottom line is, if 75% of our women are earning less than $50,000, and you're not getting married, so you don't have two families, a nuclear family and extended family. No Western civilization is set up to care for individual aged people. So what's going to happen? We're about to start seeing we're about to start seeing a lot of single spinsters, and there is no. It's not going to look pretty, because you know what happens to men who can't afford to take care of themselves? They don't get to go to the government and petition for more benefits. They end up on the street. And that's what you're starting to see. The largest group of first-time homeless is women, and women with children, because they're unattached to a man. That's why I told that woman, if you are choosing to be, I asked you if you have a college degree, she said yes. Didn't sound like she had a college degree to me, sounded like she had a certificate. Sound like to me she has a middle-class job, and that'll work as long as she doesn't have any serious health illness or whatever. She can work and make paycheck to paycheck, live a middle-class life until something happens. But she will not be able to have enough money to retire on. She will not have a savings. And then when she can no longer work, where's the support system? It ain't the government. The support system is supposed to be your family. So women, the notion that you don't need no man, you need a family, you need a network. And that's what I'm telling women today. It's easy to say you'd rather die alone until you look at 60-plus-year-old women out there doing this shit. I don't just say this to be triggering to women. I'm looking at women dying alone. It ain't pretty, it ain't sexy. And many of the women are they're too prideful, too embarrassed, too ashamed, too whatever, to come and tell the stories to the younger women saying, don't do what we did. But that's who I talk to often, those older women in the baby boomer generation. Keep telling them. Go in my comment section, women in their 70s, thank you for saying what we did not know how to say. What am I ultimately saying? That we're better together than apart, and we do need one another. Men and women are different. We were designed for different purposes, and we're better together. But in order to be together, you got to not be so selfish, because it ain't about you when you come together. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter is tasty, jelly good than a motherfucker. Together they make a good sandwich. But do you want to eat a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, but you can eat a whole lot of goddamn PB&J?
Yeah.
Have a good one, man.
Hey.
All right, let's get into this one, because Kevin wasn't just talking relationships. He was talking culture, community, and long-term consequences. Kevin said it straight. Feminism killed the modern black woman. Now that might sound extreme if you don't listen closely, but if you really hear what he's saying, it's not about hating women. It's about looking at how far we've drifted from what actually builds strong families, legacies, and lasting partnerships. And let's be clear, Kevin never knocked equality. He wasn't saying women shouldn't work, vote, lead, or chase success. He was calling out the version of feminism that taught women they don't need men, that submission is weakness, that masculinity is toxic, and that the nuclear family is outdated. And what has that message produced? Record high single motherhood, generations of children raised without stable two-parent homes. Women over 30 with degrees, jobs, and independence, but no husbands, no legacy, and no peace. Kevin said something that stuck with me. Feminism told you to go get the degree in the career, but it never taught you how to be a wife, a mother, or a partner. And look around. He wasn't lying. You got women out here arguing with men instead of building with them. Out talking, out masculinating, and out maneuvering, but still lonely. The sad truth is, feminism taught black women to compete with men, not complement them. And in doing so, it created a divide that our community is still paying for. Kevin also pointed out, feminism was never built with the black family in mind. The movement came from white middle-class women trying to escape their traditional roles, not from black women trying to destroy theirs. But we adopted it wholesale, and now here we are. Broken homes, broken standards, broken communication, and women wondering why the men they want aren't choosing them. Bottom line, Kevin wasn't saying go barefoot and back in the kitchen. He was saying if your independence costs you connection, partnership, and family, then what did you really gain? Modern feminism gave freedom, but it didn't give fulfillment. It gave choices, but no wisdom to navigate them. And if we're being honest, it didn't uplift the black woman. It left her more isolated than ever. So when Kevin said feminism killed the modern black woman, he wasn't insulting her. He was mourning the version of her that used to thrive in love, community, and purpose. And until that version comes back, we'll keep watching women trade their feminine power for independence and wonder why it still doesn't feel like a win.